How's it going, everyone? The PlayStation Store is running its 30th anniversary sale. A lot of great deals are available, and I am here to highlight some of the deals under the price of $10. So let's just get right into it, as we've got quite a lot of stuff to go over. But as always, this isn't even, I would say we're scratching the surface, but there's certainly a lot more games on top of this. But right off the top, I think it's worthwhile to mention Judgement, which is 75% off for $9.99. This game is available on PlayStation Plus Extra, however, it is getting pulled on December the 17th, so not a bad time to pick up the game if you're a Plus Extra subscriber. If you're not a Plus Extra subscriber, the game should absolutely be in your library. It's a game that you should absolutely play. Just be mindful of the fact that if you're on PlayStation 5, you buy the PlayStation 5 version. There's a PlayStation 4 version and a PS5 version. You don't get a free upgrade. This isn't a cross-gen purchase or anything like that, so buy the version that is relevant to you. But Judgement is a tremendous game, and I often say it's really probably the best RGG game to play to start off with their titles. Obviously, they've also done the Yakuza titles. Why I say Judgement is because Judgement is a game that was built ground up for the PS4. It's got English voice acting, and it's your action beat-em-up style of gameplay that RGG is known for. Obviously, with the newer games, Yakuza Like a Dragon and Infinite Wealth, those games are turn-based JRPGs. Judgement still adopts the action beat-em-up style, and it's great. On top of that, you're not looking to get into a daunting like 7-8 game arc of Yakuza 0 all the way through Yakuza 6 into Like a Dragon into Infinite Wealth. Judgement and Lost Judgment, it's only 2 titles, and Judgement itself tells a fairly good self-contained story. In the case of the RGG games, they all tell fairly good self-contained stories, but Judgement, I just feel like, is one of the best narratives they put out. Probably 1A, 1B alongside Yakuza Like a Dragon, but nevertheless, $9.99 on that, great deal, and again, with it being removed from Plus Extra here shortly, not a bad time to pick that up. Next up, we got Uncharted the Nathan Drake Collection, 50% off for $9.99. I imagine the majority of you guys have this collection at this point, but if you don't, maybe you're a newer, gamer on PlayStation. Given that Uncharted at this point saw its last mainline entrance almost a decade ago. Yes, Uncharted 4 came out in April of 2016, you guys. Uncharted is one of those franchises that I do feel like is a part of a different era. It is not a part of PlayStation's current era, which is so depressing to think about, because Uncharted, to me, is like the PlayStation franchise that I grew up playing. Really enjoyed it on the PlayStation 3, played through all the games there, and Uncharted 1, while it's one of those games from 2007 that shows its age, much like, games like Mass Effect 1 and Witcher 1, it's still a solid playthrough. Uncharted 2, to me, is still one of the best games of all time. Kind of funny how that works with Mass Effect as well. Like, Uncharted 2, Mass Effect 2, both, I consider them to be some of the best games of all time. Uncharted 2, I also feel like holds up pretty well. Obviously, in 2009, the game was a technical marvel, so, it doesn't have that going for it, but man, it's still so fantastic. I still vividly remember being 12 years old, watching E3 of 2009, my jaw on the floor with the Uncharted 2 gameplay demo. Like, that game was insane at the time, and really set the standard, I feel, for PlayStation exclusives being what they are perceived as today. And then Uncharted 3 was really good as well. It just didn't have the leap that Uncharted 2 had over Uncharted 1. So, it was still a great game, and I would still strongly recommend playing it. $9.99 for all 3 games. It's fantastic. Go check them out. Great deal. And hopefully, Uncharted makes a comeback at some point, or a ground-up remake of Uncharted 1 would be pretty nice, I'm not gonna lie, but we'll see if that comes to fruition. Next up, we got Borderlands, the Legendary Collection, 80% off for $9.99. Excellent collection here with Borderlands 1 Remastered, Borderlands 2, and Borderlands the pre-sequel. On top of that, you get the game's respective DLC. All that content for $9.99 is a home run, no-brainer. The value here is just absolutely insane given how much content you get in. And Borderlands, to me, is still a great franchise. I know people had their opinions about Borderlands 3 and certainly Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. I thought those 2 games were a little bit underwhelming. Borderlands 1, Borderlands 2, and even the pre-sequel I thought were all really good games. Borderlands 2, without a doubt, the peak to me. And with this collection, you do get the game's respective DLCs outside of one small piece of DLC for Borderlands 2, but still, fantastic deal. Next up, we got XCOM 2 The Collection, 90% off for $9.99. Always love to see XCOM 2 The Collection on sale, a fantastic tactics-based title. And on top of that, with the collection, you get the War of the Chosen DLC, you get some other downloadable content as well, but XCOM 2 is great. Does have some technical and performance issues on PS4, unfortunately. Had a tumultuous launch on PC even, but a lot of it is remedied on PC. PC would probably be the ideal place to play on, like, a relatively good PC. Not even that great, given that it came out in 2016. It's just not upgraded on PS5, which is a bummer. This is one of those games that I feel like if they did a native upgrade on PS5, man, it would go a long way, but it is what it is. $9.99 for the collection, great deal. Definitely check that out. Next up, Persona 4 Golden has hit a new low price of $9.99. Have to recommend this. One of the greatest JRPGs of all time. I'm not even crazy about Persona like a lot of other people. Don't get me wrong, I consider it one of the best Japanese RPG franchises ever. It's just the people that like Persona love Persona, and I totally understand why. It's a great game, and Persona 4 had a great mystery story, a great cast of characters, and, you know, with Persona, I feel like they do tackle mature themes a lot of the times in the game. Yes, it does have a high school setting, which I think they really should shift away from in Persona 6. I think they should at least update it to a college setting, but that's rather here nor there. Persona 4 is great. Awesome soundtrack as well. I'll face myself as one of the greatest battle themes in a JRPG. I know, hella generic take. Their Heartbreak is good as well. $9.99, great pickup there. Shadow of the Colossus, 50% off for $9.99. SOTC is one of the most iconic video games of all time, and Bluepoint doing a ground-up remake of SOTC on PS4 was fantastic. If you look up the lists of greatest PS2 games of all time, usually Shadow of the Colossus is in the mix for the top 3 to 5. It's usually like SOTC, you'll see Metal Gear Solid 3 in there, maybe like a Final Fantasy X, but SOTC is absolutely tremendous. The issue on PS2 was that it was way ahead of its time, and it did have some technical issues. It was still a marvel on the PS2, but on the PS4, man, the shackles really come off, and you're talking about it being a ground-up remake that looks absolutely stunning. $9.99 for SOTC is a fantastic pickup, definitely. Go check that out. Next up, we got Control Ultimate Edition, 80% off for $7.99. I often talk up Control more than a lot of other people. I just think Control is a tremendous game as far as its gameplay is great, the visuals are stunning, sound design is really good, and overall it's just a really good game. I often also say that it's my favorite game among the titles that Remedy has put out, which is a little bit of a hot take, especially with Alan Wake 2 recently coming out, but I still think Control is a step above, and I think it's a great game. The Ultimate Edition gets you the DLC as well. A great pickup here for sure, and definitely well worth the $7.99 that it's discounted for. Next up, one of those franchises that I don't know if it'll ever see a comeback, but Gravity Rush 2 is 50% off for $9.99. Now, there was actually some rumbling that this was gonna get a remastered release. We'll see if that ultimately comes to fruition. It would be pretty great if it did, because Gravity Rush 2 is absolutely awesome. The follow-up to Gravity Rush, which is available in the remastered form on PlayStation 4 as well, it really expands upon Gravity Rush in a great way. The game is fantastic, art style is tremendous, gameplay is really good, just a awesome game, and it sucks that, you know, they sunk so much money into games like Concord, and I get why. Listen, I understand an executive is far more likely to salivate at the thought of the live service bag than do a Gravity Rush 3. I get that. I am just a little bit upset that that is the reality in the gaming world today, that they will chuck money at the live service wall, take up a bunch of L's just to ultimately try to get that W, and we can't get a Gravity Rush 3, and we have so many dormant IPs, but let's get off my soapbox. Gravity Rush 2 is awesome. You should go play it. $9.99 for it is great. Next up, we got My Hero 1's Justice 2, 75% off for $9.99. I know the My Hero Academy manga recently wrapped up. The anime, I believe, is still airing, but Yeah, really enjoyed My Hero Wants Justice. It's a totally serviceable arena fighter. If you're a fan of My Hero Academy, Academia, whatever, you're gonna enjoy this game. Super flashy, visually delightful, and yeah, if you like My Hero, you'll have a good time with it. $9.99, a good price on that. Next up, Final Fantasy VII, the original, is 60% off for $6.39. I always like to give the original FF7 a mention. I still feel like it's totally worthwhile to play FF7, even though we did get, we have the remake trilogy coming out. The games are so different from a gameplay standpoint, visual standpoint, that, you know what, go back and play the original. I feel like that'll give you an appreciation for the remake trilogy as well, noticing the differences and how much they expanded upon it. It's just wild whenever you go back and play FF7. I did a playthrough of FF7 a couple of years ago, and remember where, like, Final Fantasy VII Remake is like a 30 to 40 hour JRPG, maybe even longer if you do all the content. Definitely longer if you do all the content, but then, like, in the original FF7, you can blitz through that section so quickly, like, within probably 5 to 6 hours. Like, it's not long whatsoever, probably even quicker than that, if you really just go after it. But yeah, it's a great game, $6.39, definitely worthwhile. I do ideally recommend to play the original 7 on PC, where you can install the Echo S mod. That mod is just tremendous, but you know what, options can be limited, and a lot of you guys are going to want to play it on PlayStation, on a console, so $6.39 on that is great. A Way Out is $5.99, great deal for A Way Out, a co-op title, great narrative, very much on the shorter side, but an excellent game. Yeah, and Hazelight is about to, rumors have it that Hazelight's about to announce their next title at the Game Awards. I believe it's called A Split Fiction. Don't quote me on that, but that should be pretty cool. I mean, they're one of the more consistent game studios in all of gaming right now, so excited for that. Prey Digital Deluxe Edition, 80% off for $7.99. I've talked up Prey a lot. It is 2017's most underrated game, and yeah, unfortunately the studio that did it, Arcane Austin, has been shut down, but man, it's such a great atmospheric first-person title. You get the DLC here as well with Moon Crash and Typhon Hunter. $7.99's a no-brainer there for sure. Dreams, 60% off for $7.99, done by Media Molecule, who are one of those studios that have just been so quiet over the last few years. Dreams came out in early 2019, and yes, it had gotten quite a few updates. Actually, I think it was in early access in early 2019, and then came out of early access in 2020. Whatever. The game is great. It's more of a creation suite, but it's pretty incredible as far as what they did. And I just feel like there were things that Sony fumbled on in terms of promotion of this game, but what can you do? It's great, and you still should circle back and play it because it's still an incredible creation suite, and experiencing the creativity of other people really is where I think the game is great. Legend of Dragoon is 30% off for $6.99. Now, the game is always under $10. It's $9.99 for its regular price, but man, throwback JRPG here. I played Legend of Dragoon way back in the day on the PS1, but my memory of those days playing it on the PS1 are super foggy. I just remember growing up thinking this game had the coolest box art ever. I ultimately revisited it on the PSP, and I can't remember if there was a release on the PlayStation 3 store where you could play it on PSP, or if I, emulated it. But nevertheless, I really enjoyed the game. It is super basic fundamentally if you compare it to JRPGs of today. But, sometimes doing the fundamentals really well, that's all you need. And Legend of Dragoon had a pretty good story as well. $7 for it. Definitely not a bad pickup there. And then lastly, Vampyr is on sale, 80% off for $7.99. Enjoyed Vampyr quite a lot. Actually was surprised by how much I enjoyed it. I thought the atmosphere in this game was great. Narratively was pretty solid until the end. And the voice acting was really good. Gameplay is the area where the game did struggle at, but you know what? If you can get into the main aspects of the game, the narrative, the atmosphere, you'll still have a good time. And then for $7.99, a good pickup there. But that'll do it for me. Again, a lot of great deals under the price of $10. Definitely some worthwhile stuff to check out there. And again, there's even more deals on top of this that we didn't cover under $10. But that's going to do it for me. Your thoughts down below. As always, sound off in the comment section. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.